Te tawa mai
Iroka, te tawa mai raro, te tawa.
I've one apology to one.
And we've got sound coming through here.
Te wana Aranui,
We'll take a moment.
moved by Councillor Crown, seconded by Councillor Brown. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. I might just slow down a little bit. I have got a nice voice. Are we all right now?
No.
I just don't know which echo I should be answering to.
And Bingo was his name. Make it smaller, Junior. Just try it again, Kate. See if it's going.
Are we all right now?
and then potentially be escalated to council if needed.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Bogue.
Just one question, thank you. Under the risks, it includes the possibility that we may not fulfil our obligations under the Significance and Engagement Bill, and what does that mean in these instances?
So in this instance, the significant engagement would be around the consenting process through the fast track approvals bill. The potential for community EU engagement is quite truncated. There's a set statutory time frame for that to occur. If that does not occur, not the select committee, but the expert panel can still move forward with the recommendation for their decision. To mitigate that, I feel NCC officers will do meaningful engagement with iwi partners, community, to keep them fully apprised of the project's progression and any consenting requirements within that.
Thank you.
Do I have any further questions? No. Okay, do I have a mover for the officer's recommendation, please? Moved by Councillor Mawson,
Sorry,
seconded.
is that both parts of it, the Taradale as well?
It's the paper.
Oh, okay, because I had some questions about the Taradale section.
We'll go back.
Sorry. Yes, how much unspent transition support funding and Better Off funding do we have? And how did we intend to spend it?
Through the chair, I believe that is for the next paper.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Local water's done well.
I thought those two papers were together. Oh.
What question, what paper are you asking the question
okay.
on?
Yep, I'm fine, sorry.
You're fine?
Yep.
We'll go
Just the
forward
water
again.
thing.
That was moved by Councillor Mawson, seconded by Councillor Simpson. Is there anything you'd like to say? Anything?
Yes, no, I'm more than happy to accelerate some of these activities.
Yep, for sure. Any other comments? So all of those in favour of the officer's recommendation, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried.
I will be abstaining. I was one of 27,000 people who made submissions on the fast track bill, and mine was in opposition. And although, you know, I've noted the content of this report, I'm completely satisfied with it. But I'm abstaining on this vote because I did submit, because I was very concerned about the potential removal of checks and balances to protect the environment from rampant development. Not that this is rampant development, but just to be consistent and in good faith, I cannot vote in favour of this because it's not consistent with my submission.
Okay, so that'll be noted. Thank you. Item 2, local water done well. Andrew, you're away again.
Thank you, Chair. Again, an information report to elected officials. This one is just an update of the local water done well scheme from central government. Essentially, Three Waters Reform has been repealed and it has been replaced by local water done well. There will be legislation earmarked to go to central government mid-2024, which will outline our next steps. Essentially, at this stage, those next steps are quite unknown. There has been advice received from central government, but no firm action or pathway in place. Again, taking the report as read and happy to take further questions on it if there are any.
Councillor Crown.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. I'm just wondering, there is a point here in 1.2 around that the bill will require us to provide baseline information around water operations, assets, revenue, expenditure, etc. Can you confirm for me that that exercise was actually undertaken when Three Waters was the model that was in front of us? And so are we going to have to redo processes that we've already done previously?
Yeah, sorry, through the chair, I could answer that. There is an element of work that has already been done, part of the water reform process through with the National Transition Unit. A lot of that work's not lost. We have retained the IP on that information, so we have access to all of that work that we did the part of the it's the the service delivery plan that is going to require us to identify that information and determine the financial viability of water services, and that's part of coming out of the legislation. That's the requirement. So with that, we'll be able to pull all that information together. It's very similar to the work that the team do in our activity management plans and our long-term planning. So it shouldn't be too onerous. It's just at this point we don't know the detail of what central government is actually asking for us and how to represent that. At the moment, we're still waiting for that to come to us. Yeah.
And may I have another thing? Thank you, Mr. Chair. There are a number of projects that were assigned, that we assigned funding to last time round that met that quite fairly strict criteria that was attached. So will more officers be able to provide us with certainty as to whether we need to redirect funds away from the projects for which they're tagged to currently to transition and model set up?
Oh, is this the regarding the Better Off funding
Yes.
projects?
The
Yeah.
financial stuff, the transition support package related to that.
Yeah. That we still don't know the detail of that yet. We've submitted our budget position with the money that we have spent and we have yet to spend, but also the money that we've yet to draw down from Treasury as part of those agreements. That is currently being collated regionally through the RRA, and they are talking on council's behalf with central government to determine what those numbers will be, and also to the extent of what possible support will there be for local government, local water done well, and how we might work that for Hawke's Bay. So, it's sort of, it's a work in progress, unfortunately, and hopefully by our next meeting we should know with a little more certainty. Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Simpson.
Yeah, through Mr. Chair, just on similar point, the point above, the clock starting to tick. Just want a clarification. The intent at the moment is when this bill is introduced or done its final reading, that is the starting point for all councils nationwide, regardless of where they sit or decisions they have to make in that 12-month period. They've got 12 months from the point of time that the bill is approved. Is that correct?
That's my understanding, yes. Yeah. So it's, like I said, it's about also, I guess, identifying, how we might want to shape water services for Napier.
That was where I was going, because this council needs to make a number of decisions in that time frame, and we need to be well informed.
Yeah.
Do management think the 12 months is an achievable outcome for us? Bearing in mind it's only a plan that has to be ready by then.
Correct.
Not
Yeah. And that's part of the work and the conversations we're having with the Regional Recovery Agency and the work that they're doing collectively for the region with looking at the Hawke's Bay water model and revisiting that proposal and just really looking at because if we do look at that as an option, we'll need to do a plan for that option, but also a plan for what we're currently doing as well. And that's what some other councils are facing as well. So as to the achievability, we're still endeavouring to achieve that. Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Do I have a mover for the officer's recommendation, please? Councillor Simpson, seconded by Councillor Crown. Would you like to speak?
No, I'm satisfied.
Councillor Crown. Okay, all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Thank you, Hendry. Jamie. Third item, capital plan update, and Jamie will go, and he's got some pictures this time.
Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to take my report as read. There's just a couple of points to note there, as usual, that the year-to-date capital spend to March is just a tad behind, 34.2 million actual versus 35.3 million budget, and we continue to track at about 54 million to year to date. A few tenders going through the various processes there, and just at the end a wee bit of commentary on some of the initiatives that we've got underway to try and improve our capital delivery and reporting, including working through that preliminary stages of that Enterprise Project Management Office, the EPMO. I might just jump onto those photos. So that first slide's of the Memorial Square community rooms. So that's just a wee bit of the seismic strengthening work that's going to go on. So a series of new frames going in. Just sort of right at the bottom of the slide there's a brick culvert that runs under the building, just to make it that little bit more exciting. So that's necessitated some piles and some bridging beams to take that structural work. So that work is hoping to get underway soon. We're just going through the request for tender process for that at the moment. In the meantime, we've awarded the contract for the asbestos removal of the sub-floor material. So the subsoil under that building had been impacted by asbestos, so that's going to be removed. So that's getting underway next week. Oops, sorry. There's a slide of around at West Quay there, the Makisi building that's getting closer. So our team are involved with some roading work and also a bit of drainage there. So that's a little picture of that, which is shaping up quite well. This is our beloved McLean Park. I'm not sure if you had a chance to look out the window there, but yeah, it's just recently been resown. So we're looking for that grass to jump up out of the ground and be ready for rugby towards the end of July. So this is pretty hard to see, but right in the middle there, that green bit, that's the old cricket block. So they've taken out all the old clay. There's one tray remaining in there, so that'll be a tray that'll be used for cricket during the summer, obviously, and just the remaining turf will go in there for the winter tray. So there'll be a consistency of surface across there. You might have seen on some of the coverage on TV when the rugby guys are running around there, they slip over on the old cricket block and don't like getting tackled on it. So that's all sort of been made more uniform. So that's a real improvement there. So yeah, hoping to be ready for rugby in August. The last slide is just some work we're doing out at Parklands. So we've cleared an area there and taken advantage of some government funding to relocate some of the silt that's been collected out Esk Valley. I'm not sure if you've been up State Highway 5, but you've probably seen the big piles of silt there. So we're relocating some of that. We're going to grab as much as we can. We'd hope to get probably 300,000 or 400,000 cube. We're not entirely sure how much we are going to get, but whatever we do get is of real advantage to the council because it's not as costly as if we had to import it externally. So we're underway with that now. So yeah, that's real progress there. I think that's it. So yeah, happy to take questions.
Any questions? Councillor Bogue.
Through you, Mr Chair. About the Parkland silt relocation, how much higher is the ground going to be elevated to?
Yeah, so we're just sort of working through that process at the moment, but the rest of Parklands is probably around about 1.5 metres. There are requirements for flood levels there for floors, for houses, and I think from memory it's at about RL 11.5, I think it is, and the existing ground out there is about RL 10-ish. So you're around about 1.5 metres.
Councillor Simpson.
Yeah, through you, Mr Chair. I love, but I am dubious about a report that shows that everything's nearly green. My question is related to, I just want to clarify, the report seems to focus on infrastructure or water assets budgets, so that's indicating here that there's 85% of council's capital spend. Is the other 50% covered in here or not, 15%?
I don't report on that, just because I sort of don't have as great a visibility, but certainly we report on the capital spend, so that is council-wide. One of the challenges we have is, with our reporting, and I think that has led on to the work that Rachel's doing with her EPMO. We have been struggling, with our reporting. And certainly, if we can get the EPMO up and running, that'll definitely help, because it'll provide sort of a hub of expertise, if you like, to feed out to the wider council. I've sort of said in my report that quite a lot of the various areas of the council are sort of reporting in their own way, and the EPMO will probably provide just that little bit more focus on that.
Just another question related to the report. The
Can you
financial
just jump a bit closer to your speaker and talk a bit louder, please? Because
just with the financials, the 75.9 million and the 102.5 million, is that the total capital budget for the council, or is that only covering the 85% that are reported here?
So the 102, that's the revised capital program.
For the full council, or just for the?
Yes, full council.
Thank you. And so my other question would be then, are we aware of how many projects are behind schedule?
Well, I suppose it's a question of, what you talk about as being behind schedule. Definitely we're behind on capital spend, so I suppose by default we're behind on schedule. I can recall the CFO talking at a prior meeting where she did provide some information on the various asset areas, budgets versus actuals. So that would sort of provide a wee bit of information on that. But as far as projects being behind, it may be that projects haven't started. And I think that's highlighted in that green bar out between May and June, where there's, I think, about 50-odd million of work that the asset owners have pushed out to the end of the year because they aren't entirely confident that those projects will start. So I suppose if you're looking at quantums, there's a good chunk of the total capital spend won't be delivered.
Thank you.
Councillor Crystal.
Just back to the silt, have you actually started transporting it from Estelle?
Yes.
It started?
Yes.
And what sort of
Because we're getting the
period?
complaints.
Yeah, I just hadn't, I thought it was, but, and how long do you expect it to take to relocate?
The money lasts till December, so
estimate.
we're going to go gangbusters till then. So the reality is we are limited on truck movements, so we're very conscious of the community as well. We have been getting the odd complaint from locals. I'm not sure if you've seen the trucks, but they are making every effort. All the trucks are covered, so they have covers over the back to stop dust and stuff coming off them. We've got wheel washers on site so that there isn't material being brought out onto the road, and we've got a full-time manager out there keeping an eye on dust. So yeah, we're trying our best, but it is one of those situations when you, what's the analogy, that when you make an omelette, you've got to break some eggs.
Short-term pain, long-term gain.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Councillor Brown.
Kia ora, thank you for the report. Through the chair, would you be able to explain to me how to interpret that graph for me, that total expenditure versus revised budget? I'm looking at it thinking, if a revised budget, does that mean that they're going to try and spend $50 million in the next month when we've only achieved $50 million for the past 11 months?
That's what the graph says, yes. Yeah.
Is that realistic?
No.
How?
If I could add to that answer, the green line was a result of a carryover process from last year. So for the last financial year, they carried over some projects. There is a reprofiling issue, or not issue, sorry, a process that we need to do, and we're not necessarily targeting that. It's just that $100 million. Excuse me, we recognise that our processes and resources aren't sufficient to achieve that, and that's something that we're working on. But just to add to Jamie's comments before, some of the work Jamie is unaware of because it hasn't come to his team yet. So it's sort of sitting in development and concept, but it's just not quite at the stage where it needs all of this funding. So it is very much a profiling issue in our 10-year program that we're working with staff to try and improve in our predicted spending, because it does give the finance team a bit of grief when they're trying to program where and when to draw down money in readiness for these projects. So, yeah. And we're hoping that the work that Rachel's doing with the EPMO is going to help give us that forward planning to be more comfortable and confident in our predictions. So, yeah.
And supplementary to that, if I may, through the chair, can I also read into this that our costs or expected costs have gone up by about $27 million? Because if our original annual plan was $75 million and it's gone up to 102.
Oh no, sorry. That's a result of the carryovers that came over from last year. The projects.
Did we not? Sorry, through the chair. Did we not understand the carryovers at the start of the year? Have they sort of snuck up on us, or?
Oh, the carryover process. Correct me if I'm wrong. It comes in about October. Like it's not at the start of the financial year in the July period. So part of the process of doing the finance is that you're working out, you're making the end of year annual report, but the officers are then required to go and look at those projects that are either still committed, like they're either in tender and they just didn't finish at the end of the year, and they need that budget to transfer into the next year, or if it's imminent work where they're ready to go to the market. Or the other one is if it's needed because it's a multi-year project and they haven't quite got to where they need it to be. So it's a timing issue in terms of that capital process, and the financial, the account managers are then asked to work out and give the finance team their estimate of what they're looking at. So what the stage that we're looking at working with those activity managers is really is whilst they're looking at the carryovers, but they also should be looking at the annual plan as well. It's about the deliverability of that program. So, and having, the ability to spend that money that they're, putting into the financial plan. So that's the work that we're working on with our teams at the moment.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not sure
And Jess could help.
Is that working?
Yes.
Yep. So happy to jump in here and just confirm that the carry forward process is always a confirmation of bringing those carry forwards into the following financial year. So we obviously don't know what the carry forwards are when we set the budget for the next financial year. The carry forward process is a process that occurs once the new financial year is already underway.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's part of the revised budget process.
Okay.
And
The revised forecast.
just to sum all that up, there's some issues with how we're reporting and getting information with our projects, but our EPMO office is working on this and looking at how we can report this more streamlined. Is that a good summary?
Yeah, that's the intention of the EPMO, yes.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Your eyes.
Thank you, through the chair, and just further to the subject around the approximately 50 million undelivered. Is it possible at this stage to have a report produced at a relatively high level, just showing us the projects that haven't been delivered?
Yes, yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think that would be really useful, particularly focusing on some of those peaks, the larger ones. We don't need it to go right down to every line detail, but a high-level summary would be really helpful.
No, we can, yep.
We'll do an action point.
Action point, yeah.
Great, thank you.
Absolutely.
And then a much lower level detail question, just with regards to the Onslow steps, which I note is behind schedule due to an additional retaining wall being required. Do we have an estimated completion date for that particular project?
No. I think there was some discussion that there was going to be like a workshop with the councillors on a couple of our steps.
So just to carry on from that, after pre-agenda, where we're actually going to say that this meeting, we're going to have a workshop on, probably there's 3 that we were concerned about: the Clyde Road viewing platform, the Faraday and Onslow.
Yep.
And then combine everything and we've got to get real about the issue, really, in a workshop.
That'll be good. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor McGrath.
Yes, just through the chair, just heading backwards to the silt that's available, seeing we're sitting at McLean Park. I know Pirates are looking to redevelop part of Park Island, and looking at their picture there, they've got quite a raised bank area. Is there any thought to perhaps bringing in some even more silt and working with Pirates and I guess our parks team to see if we can utilise some of that?
I think that's covered in our next agenda, isn't it?
Yeah,
Is it? Oh,
yeah, we are.
yeah.
Yeah, but I can come into that. Yeah, we are working with Pirates. We've got council officers working with them on that project at the moment. Yeah, yeah, good.
Councillor Simpson.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. Just going back to the carry forwards, I just want to clarify how much of the carry forward is likely to be, we have multi-year projects or projects that extend over multiple years. How much of that's potentially simply poor profiling about where the costs for those projects might fall?
Yeah, through the chair. Some of the bigger items that I know we ended up carrying over, particularly in the water space, was around the ball fields and the treatment plants. And that was just purely because the workforce was in that recovery space. And we just weren't at we just needed to reprofile that out. It's
So
just really a timing issue.
it's not so much a question about things that are behind schedule.
Yeah.
It's more a question around how we profile budgets, forecast budgets.
Yep. So we forecast, and the forecast recently is really just through the LTP process. So, and that's where we do the major forecasting of all those multi-year projects, particularly the ones that are funded by other parties as well, like the Maro Nui project that Andrew was talking about. And so we're sort of, working with those other funding partners and making sure that we're staying true to those work programs. So is that sort of, and we pick up adjustments through the annual plan process as well if it's outside of the 3-year process that we need to adjust those profiles.
Yeah, I'll talk that through with you offline.
Okay, thank you.
I think the paper that Mayor Wise has asked for might actually help answer that
But it's
question.
about delineating what's being delayed versus what was simply a forecasting
I
calculation.
think that will probably come out
Yeah.
in the high-level paper that you're talking about. Would that be right? Mayor Wise?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Can I see someone? No? Okay, do I have a mover and a seconder for that paper? Councillor Simpson, seconded by Councillor Gregg. Have a quick look at your label because you've been so quiet. Okay, would you like to?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I think it's really important that this is our opportunity for a heads up or a no surprises sort of approach to what may be happening in projects and budgets. So I think it's really important that this report is transparent. And I thank the staff because I know it's a time-consuming report because we don't actually have the technology that underpins this, and staff actually have to manually produce this report in the current context. And I think that's unfortunate, but it is an important report. So thank you for your time and effort.
Councillor Gregg.
Yeah, just to say that I'm looking at the photographs, it just reminds us what a massive amount of work is going on behind the scenes. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other comments? Okay, all of those in favour of the officer's recommendation, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. So I'll now close the meeting for a short time, and Councillor Brosnan, Deputy Mayor Brosnan will proceed with future Napier.